Hey guys, these are Brianna's questions for the exam, so I'll kind of run through these. First question is, gives free energy exist? That's going to be referring to how much energy is in a system. And remember, the key things here is, do we have a positive, equal, or negative amount of free energy? So if we're talking about negative, we're talking about a reaction that's naturally going to occur. That's something that's going to want to release that energy. Whereas something has a positive amount of gives free energy, that means that it needs energy in order for it to occur. So this is the activation cost. This would be that ATP that's needed at the beginning of glycolysis. And then if we have no or in equal amounts, then nothing is happening. And that's not something we're really going to have happening in the body too much. Glycolysis. Do you need to know the phases? Not so much, but understanding the important steps like step 1 and step 3 whenever it comes to be rate limiting and obviously needing energy, and then so on and so forth. Hydrolysis, that's going to be simply talking about, are we adding water? Oxidative system, that's going to be referring to aerobic glycolysis and beta oxidation, both of which are going to feed into the Krebs cycle, which in turn feeds into the electron transport chain. And in order for the electron transport chain to occur, we need oxygen. So understanding where oxygen is required and where it's not. So anaerobic glycolysis, aka producing lactate, and the ATP-PCR system does not utilize oxygen either, but it does need it in order to replenish it. Review the differences in muscle fiber types as well as heavy chain and light chain. Okay, so basics are type 1, slow twitch, type 2A, our faster twitch, and then type 2B, our fastest. Now, the 2B is, though it happens to be the most powerful fiber, it also is the most rapidly fatigued. And then our type 1, since it's our slowest, the positive is, it also happens to be the most fatigue resistant. And what we're going to find is through training, our body is going to have a limited amount of transition into that faster or slower twitch form, depending on what type of training. So for strength power, we tend to convert over to more type 2A. If we're long endurance, we're converting more to type 1. And if we're a complete couch potato, does nothing, and is detrained, that's when we're actually going to see more type 2B, which is kind of an interesting occurrence if you think about it. Now, those individual fibers are going to start to take on characteristics of the methods in which to train, meaning if you're doing a lot of aerobic training, your 2A fibers are going to increase their amount of mitochondria, they're going to have more oxidative enzymes, they're going to do a better job of keeping up work rates aerobically. And then, as far as your type 1, well, this is where we're talking about myosin light chain, where we've got 5 different isoforms of between our regulatory and our essential, and those are going to have a certain amount of trainability, and that's going to be, I likened it to putting a supercharger on your engine. The engine itself is the myosin heavy chain. You can supercharge a 3-cylinder Pinto, and it's never going to give you the performance that a simple big block V8 will. But you supercharge a big block V8, and now we got a different party altogether. So keep in mind the myosin light chain does have an effect, along with it can be phosphorylated, so that once you've essentially activated these enzymes or these proteins inside of the muscle accordingly, you're going to get faster contractions in the future. So that's a reason why we are going to do things as far as potentiation in order to get people to exercise in their warm-up, so they're going to have a better game day performance. Krebs cycle, it exists. This occurs inside of the mitochondria. This is going to be Tofi's answer. I kind of went through that, so please take a look. ATP synthesis, remember the key part that happens in all the different energy systems, but the oxidative, that's going to be the one where we're seeing the vast majority of them all produced through ATP synthase at the last part of the electron transport chain. What Astrid did, one heck of an exercise physiology researcher, along with doing some really good work on quantifying work itself through cycle ergometry, looking at metabolic abilities and basic nutrition. Glycogen resynthesis. This is what's going to occur whenever the cell is in a state where it has enough energy, aka you're not going to be resynthesizing glycogen while you're exercising. And this is only going to be done when we have glucose. So we're going to need carbohydrates inside of the cell, so that obviously we're going to be able to resynthesize more carbohydrates inside of said cell. So, hope that answered all of your questions. Thanks for sending them in, Bree. Have a good one. Good luck on the exam, guys.